We'll start off by saying thanks for making the effort to show up because, showing up for stuff like this, as we know, is it's much more intensive than just kind of, casually listening to a podcast. And, showing up and participating is real effort. So let's begin. Sense. I got to share my screen actually.
Yep.
Share, share, share. All right. So here we have today's topic is going to be inner judo and effort. And I'm going to start off. I got about 6 pages of quotes that I just put together, and then we'll follow it up with open forum. All right. And these are all Ouspensky quotes. And he says, effort is our money. If we want something, we must pay for it with effort, according to the strength of our effort and time of effort, in the sense of whether the right time for effort or not, we obtain results. Effort needs knowledge of when effort is useful. The efforts we can make are efforts of self-observation and self-remembering. It says, if he makes an effort to stop the expression of negative emotion, it gives him material for observation, and he sees himself from quite a different angle. It is necessary for each person to find for himself the moment to make this particular big effort, especially when all instinctive and emotional tendencies go against it. This is the moment to make the effort. We must overcome the inertia of mind by efforts to self-remember, to observe, not to identify. Nothing is automatic in self-remembering. Every moment is effort. There are two things keeping us back: ignorance and weakness. We do not know enough, and we are not strong enough. You must begin with small efforts. No right effort is lost. Something always remains. This is actually a Goethe quote. He says, no effort goes unrewarded. It is necessary to remember that all that was said at different times about efforts, because effort is the basis of work. Everything we can gain is proportionate to effort. The more we make, the more we can expect. It is necessary to make small efforts, such as struggle with habits, self-observation, trying to control attention, and so on. Generally speaking, we miss the opportunity of making small efforts. We disregard them, do not consider them important enough. Yet we can increase our capacity for making efforts only by making these small efforts which we disregard, which is very interesting. Um, and those are the quotes. And um, so we can just, uh, yeah, let's start there. Um, any thoughts?
Yeah, so effort isn't just like physical effort. Let's say, trying to self-observe is also effort. Trying to pick the right move is also effort. So sometimes the physical effort might be less than that
Right. He actually says
mental.
that, yeah, it's not about muscular efforts like this. Remember, what we talk about here, it's inner judo. And so all the efforts are it's to strengthen our inner selves. And it's inner work. And so like the pull to express a negative emotion, or even like the pull to get that dessert, or the pull to um, to go along with the habit. The effort is to not do it, to go against it. Uh,
Mm. So
it's
not doing the wrong thing is almost more of an effort than just doing the right thing.
absolutely 100%. And when he's talking about these little efforts, these are things like I had a teacher once that said, try leaving the last bit of coffee in your cup when you have your
Mm.
coffee. And if to do that, that's starting your day with a little effort because obviously, like you want to take that last sip down, um, you know, more than anything. But just by leaving that little bit of coffee at the bottom of your cup, that's an effort to start your day, which is it gets you some control. And, a lot of this is about getting control of our inner workings. And a lot of times, as you exactly what you said, it's by not doing something that we're gaining some control. And we can ask ourselves, is this really necessary? Like, do I really have to do this? And if you can kind of get centered and say, you know what, I don't, and you put it to the side, and then you just gained a little bit of control, and then over time, that is what builds the willpower. And when we think of will, that's that inner strength that we get by making small efforts starting off over time. It builds so we can make these larger efforts. And in dealing with a lot of the idea of inner judo, which is taking a negative force and flipping it. Sometimes the negative forces that come after us are very, very strong, and we don't have the strength to overcome them. But that the inner strength, just like muscular strength, it builds over time. And so beginning small, and then will make us more able to deal with the large things.
Yeah.
One of my practices um, is in a great place, because even on this page right here, you could say, generally speaking, we miss the opportunity for making small efforts. And there's no better place to make small efforts than the grocery store. And in Sprouts they have all the the sweet, all the treats and stuff by the cash register, or as you're going out. It's how they get you. And my efforts starting off is I'm not gonna buy any of this, any of these. It's like where like cookies at, the candies and stuff. And I have a bit of a sweet tooth, um, but I've turned that into a practice because I still feel the pull. I still want to, habitually sometimes, when I'm not remembering myself from, I'll just automatically grab it and forget. But, you know, or it's too strong and I'm too weak. I the um the desire for those sweets is stronger than the effort to not purchase them. And that still happens. But for the most part, a consistent practice that I've done is feel the desire for those, but be strong enough and have the strength to not pick it up. And that way I don't have um, these sugary, um, treats around the house. And I don't feel that regret from eating them when I do.
Yeah. No, 100%.
Um, you can think of something that um, often uh, that pulls you, that maybe is too strong for you to overcome, or maybe you can think of something that's is like a little bit of a habit that maybe you can make efforts to work with. Something small, like it
Yeah.
doesn't have to be major. As he says, it's
But
we
like for me, it's like my habits are like doing what trying to like thinking that I know it all. And instead of like that prevents me from learning from people in specific areas, right? For example, it's like it's a bit of an ego thing where if someone I usually don't listen to but knows a lot about a certain area, I have a friend like that. I didn't learn from him about that area he knew a lot about because I was like, oh, I don't need to. And then I did learn from him, and I was like, wow, this is good stuff. This just saved me months of my time. So stubbornness, not being so stubborn, just being a student. Um, it's a beautiful thing being a student. I think what stops us is like right now there's everyone's trying to be a teacher, so you gotta be careful, right? But that doesn't mean you should stop learning from other people.
Definitely. And when you talk about like it always has to be in that horizontal level, I think we've talked about before, where it's always student-teacher relationships. Everyone has something to bring out, and that another person um, can find useful. And um, and even by even just by again you showing up, this I had to I put this together really fast, and I'm reading through it, and I'm like, oh yeah, and I'm getting those reminders, and just by organizing these quotes, you in a way were a teacher for me because it was you kind of gave the reason for me to do it.
Mm, yeah.
And
Yeah,
I
I
just
like how you put that. You can kind of always be in a student, even in a bad circumstance. You're saying you could be the student, and the bad circumstance could be the teacher.
Yeah, I think so. And it's and that's why, when you set up these groups, that's why it's groups. And it's so powerful because everybody has something that is valuable to the others. And it's not so much a someone that's in a vertical teaching, they call it, where there's someone at the top and they're talking down to a group. Instead, it's more horizontal where the group is in a circle and everyone is exchanging what's valuable for each other.
Yeah.
And it was just like in like sharing life experiences that others may be able to relate to.
Yeah, 100%.
Um, and um, One of the things about small efforts, and this is what's very, very humbling about um this work, is that you can see how you know how weak we are. It's so hard to not have that last sip of coffee. You know, it's so difficult to um I'm thinking about I'm on this thing about like food and stuff right now, but it's so difficult to not express a negative emotion when you feel offended. It's so difficult to observe ourselves a lot of times, like when we start to get irritated, like and seeing how difficult these little efforts are, is sometimes a tough pill to swallow because we can see how a majority of our lives, like we're very, very mechanical and we're always going the path of least resistance. We're doing what's easiest. We're doing what we feel like doing. Um, and even like think about reaching for our phones. What a habit that is for everybody.
Yeah.
And if an effort would be to you feel the impulse to reach for the phone, but take 10 seconds and sit there instead. And it's the effort to not reach for the phone mechanically. And then just feel that urge and that desire, kind of just like sit with it, and then if you grab it, feel like there's like a relief. So we're seeing uh, how habitual we are on the day to day. But the first part of breaking those habits is seeing them. And when he says that no right effort is lost, something always remains. that's something that remains, may be simply the realization of our habitualness. And but at least you're recognizing it and acknowledging it. That's a reward, because you're getting closer um, to that realization, or even just coming to that. You could say that's understanding. Like we're understanding how habitual we are.
Yeah.
Um,
It's like 90% of the game is just understanding that.
yeah, a huge chunk, and but you get it through observing, and so you make the effort to observe, and you see how mechanical and habitual we are. Okay, like maybe, it was a small effort, but you gained understanding. And um, that's powerful. And that's why it doesn't go unrewarded. Even if you see your own, um, or like, we see our weaknesses, like that alone is a reward. We see that as profitable because that's going to ground us more in reality. We're less likely to have pride and ego when we realize that 90% of our life is done in this kind of like sleep state consciousness.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, it is kind of insane when especially I think things that we mess up on that are related to our self-image, it makes it even harder to realize that it's not because there's something lacking in us. It's because it's these habits, like you said, you know? So does that mean technically we can do anything? Or like what is the human potential then, in your opinion?
our potential is, um, you could say it's kind of like latent. It's there, but we have to work to break through the habitualness. Like it's potential.
You know what I mean? Like where does it stop then? Let's say you master this.
If you just have
In a good way, I'm saying. Like where does it stop? Like does it stop?
no, I mean, our potentials are really great if we can, um I don't know, it's like we have to almost just we have to kind of break through um the things that are like the wrong functioning, because like imagine, all right, for example, we talked about fear being the wrong use of imagination. What if through years of practices you eliminate that fear? Um, what happens in someone's life that lives with no fear?
Yeah.
That's going to increase his possibilities. Um,
Yeah, it's like I wonder how much of our potential and how much of these habits is down to just knowing that we can solve them. Like how many people spend their life just thinking that, oh, this is the way it is, and then just adopting negative thinking, and then you can't even get out of it because you haven't identified it.
uh-huh.
It's like, but also I think you need to be reminded that a lot of these things are solvable, and it's a function of habit. Like, yeah, we understand that now, but then shit happens, and you're like, you have a plan until you get punched in the face. And then
Right.
you're like, oh shit. And then Bob Dylan has a good quote about this. He says, freedom is just across the corner from you. Like, it's just around the corner, freedom. But with truth so far off, what good will it do? So he's like, you need truth to get to freedom. And freedom's right around the corner, but the truth is so far off.
Mm, yeah. And uh, it's and I don't know. It feels like the truth is. um, far off, and a lot of times because we can't accept it.
Mm. What are we not accepting though?
Or we don't want to hear it. Like it's our we create the barrier. Like it's far off, but it's us creating that
Yeah.
barrier to
Because
what
we
the
want
truth
the
is.
truth to look like what we want it to look like.
Yeah, and we can't accept it like otherwise, and so it remains far off. It seems like what he's saying.
Yeah.
Uh, no, it's and I think you've heard like it's right in front of your face. Like the truth is right in front of you. It's right there, but we
Yeah.
can't see it.
Yep.
Um, but um,
I guess it's and then that's then we can analyze why do we not want to see it? Because we're defending this false image of ourselves that's just the best and can do everything and is the smartest and is just the best thing ever. It's just a bunch of ego if you really think about it.
yeah, and that's is the toughest thing to break down though. It's so again it's like it's like we're unraveling certain parts of our psychology. Um, and this quote here it says um, it's necessary for each person to find for himself the moment to make this particular big effort, especially when it goes when all instinctive and emotional tendencies go against it.
Mm.
Um,
Then who are we really then? We're basically a blank slate, right? Aren't we just our habits?
yeah, I um,
Like God says, like I made you in my image, right? In biblical stuff. Like what
mhm.
does that mean? I don't think he meant that he has a nose and ears and eyes. I think we often take things from religion very literally. You know, like I don't know if you know this, but like Muslims, like we pray in like one direction, right, towards the Kaaba in Saudi Arabia, right? And like you, because it's like you got to get a compass. You know that? Like during prayer, they have to like find the direction of the Kaaba.
No,
Yeah, of Makkah. So they have to. You can't just pray anywhere. Like you know where you put like the mat. You can't just put it anywhere. You gotta put it. You gotta have a compass in your phone that shows you where the
wow,
Kaaba is. So that to me like is kind of unnecessary. And that's, I think, a prime example of us taking things literally, which was metaphorical. I think they meant what God or whatever meant was that you got to be in the direction of the right path and the
hmm
truth. You don't have to literally get a compass and be like, oh, okay, we're a bit to the right, bit to the left.
yeah, huh? That's
So,
interesting. Um,
yeah, let
but
me know if I'm getting too deep here, but I just,
no, not at all. That's a new fact for me. I didn't know existed.
yeah, but you know what I mean? Like God says he made us in his image, right? God is like the potential is very high. So does that mean if we can overlook our own weaknesses, how high is our potential? What can we do?
Yeah, I mean that's a big question.
And in the best way, you
I
know?
like to think that we're limitless.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. In the best way though. Not in like a I am God type way, but more in like a like wow, I have all this capacity to do good,
Capacity. I like the term capacity. Yeah.
right? But we don't even think that. We're like, no, you know, this is what life is, dude. I meet so many people with such like negative outlooks on life. They've basically given up. Majority people, and it's just kind of sad. And, you know, you gotta bounce that energy off.
Yeah, and they're like limiting outlooks. They're limiting themselves,
Yeah, and if you're not careful, then that could translate to your thinking.
most definitely. Because misery loves company, and negative
Mhm.
attitudes are contagious.
Yeah. Even do something small like sad songs. Like we like sad songs because it gives us company, you know, in our sadness. But it's if you keep listening to sad songs, you're gonna have a pretty sad life.
Right? Um, and I will share something that happened over the past month relating actually to this. Um, make an effort, especially when emotional tendencies go against it. And so, an emotional tendency of mine is um, to uh, to feel bad if I cause others suffering, but it's just emotional. Like it's I do it automatically and habitually, even but if I make the effort to um, be reasonable about it, that is work that will um, change those tendencies and act more appropriately. For example, this was maybe like 3 weeks ago. You remember Kevin? He was on the last meeting.
Yeah.
It's like a Monday night, and for some reason, like I don't know if he went out, he got fucked up, but it's like middle of the night, and I hear him like making a racket, and I go in there and he's all just like I don't know if he like relapsed on booze or what, but he's acting a mess. He's like being obviously inconsiderate, and he's not, he's being rude and and, I, and being a mess. And I see a rolled up dollar bill on his
Ah, shit.
yep. And the next morning, and I saw that, and I'm okay. So the next morning, 8 a.m., hey man, like I don't know what that was last night, but you have a 10-day notice for violating the safe, clean, and quiet policy. And he's like, damn, that's kind of harsh, like, and my normal self, my normal emotional tendency would be, oh, sadness, and like give in to his plea to stay.
Yeah.
But it was like a real, and then really the best word is just to describe it is an effort. It was an effort on my part to stick to my guns and do what I had to do.
Yeah.
It goes against my te emotional tendencies because usually I can, a situation like that, I'll give them, I'll be a little bit more lenient. I'd be a little softer on them, give them maybe a warning and stuff. But I had to say that, in this situation, judgment is swift. And, if I let you stay, it's going to make, um, me look weak to the other residents. You know, and I need to kind of use you as an example that we can't be acting like idiots.
Yeah.
Um, and so I gave him the 10-day, and he was kind of like, he accepted it. And then I was, you could say that I was happy that I was able to stick to my guns, and really um, do what I felt I had to do. And then on the day out, he asked me again. He's like, "Hey, um, I just thought it's worth a try to see if I can get a second chance." This is on the day that he got, that he was ready to move out. And I had to give him the, sorry, dude, can't do it. But I
Yeah.
did feel that little bit of the pull again to be like, should I give him a second chance? Like he's been overall this and that. But then, nope.
No,
And
once the line is crossed, dude, you gotta,
the line is crossed.
yeah.
And
That was his
the,
decision, not yours.
yeah. And I had to stick with it. But I felt major growth though, because I wasn't such a slave to my empathy. And I felt that what I did was just.
Such a slave to your empathy, dude. I like that.
Yeah. And, for like the really, but I couldn't do it. And I overcame that tendency. And I felt like that was really, that's good progress, right? Like that's using a perceived negative situation, and I really used it for inner work. And I still, it kind of gave me a sense of authority, not so much over other people, but over myself. That I can do that, and I can do what has to be done for the benefit of everyone in the house, regardless of the feelings that may come with it.
Yeah. Dude, good decision though. Tough decision, but necessary.
Necessary. And once the you realize that it is necessary, it makes it less tough because you gotta, it's one of the things like you gotta do what you gotta do.
Yeah. You gotta
And
do what you gotta do, do what it does.
yeah, for real. Um, but
No, I think you made the right decision, dude. It had to happen. And
yeah,
again, like you didn't make the decision, made the decision.
right, right. And it's like what I walked into when I saw him, like I only can describe it as like patheticness.
Yeah. Yeah, it was pathetic. You're right.
Yeah, it was just so
You don't
pathetic.
want to say it, but there's no
No,
better way to
no.
describe it sometimes.
It was the only thing. It's like what came to my mind. It's like, dude, this dude is pathetic. He's like, 50s or whatever. And I was like, dude, I never thought that like
He's in his 50s?
I think he's like 51.
That's fucking crazy. The
Yeah.
fuck? Yeah,
Yeah.
dude.
And
Get your shit together.
you got to get it together. And I just I don't want to be surrounded. And none of us deserve to be surrounded by that type of behavior ever.
No, 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 dude. That's
And
insane.
it's
Yeah.
insane. And it's just like, dude, you fucked up. And I'm
You
sorry, but
fucked
like,
up, man.
yeah,
You
you
done
don't
fucked
fucked
up.
up. You don't fucked up. And
You done fucked up, bro.
there's consequences. And that's what it is.
And I just to double this, dude, I've seen this in relationships play out. What a fucking good teacher that is. Women, dude, like they will use emotions for like unknowingly, you know? So you
Yeah.
got to know where to draw the line. Like, because I come from like a different culture, and then my girlfriend comes from a different culture, and some things are cool in her culture and definitely not cool in mine. But if we objectively look at it, in my case, like it's wrong, right? Like we had a fight the other day, and I wasn't listening. I was like ignoring her. I was using my computer working, and she shut my laptop off and ran upstairs.
Whoa, violation.
What, dude?
So how'd you react? Or what happened?
I stayed calm. I packed my stuff, and I was like, I'm going.
Where'd you go?
I was home. Like that was her place. I was like, I'm gonna go home.
Okay, okay. Oh,
And
that's well
and
played.
then
Played.
yeah, and then she's like, no, like please, and then she started like begging and stuff, and I was like I told her, look, I know in your guys' thing this is cool. If you ever do this again, I'm never gonna speak to you, and that's it.
Hmm.
You cannot do this because I wouldn't do this to you.
Uh-huh.
And she understood, and since then, there's never been. This is a month ago or something. Never been anything close to that.
Okay.
Because you had to. Because I didn't. Once you make the boundary, if you don't have the boundary, then you can kind of give the like okay benefit of the doubt, like you didn't know. But then once you make the boundary, and now if it happens, that's a different story. You
Yeah.
already made the boundary in the beginning.
Okay. And
So,
when that laptop got shut, I mean, how quickly did you know that you were just going to leave? Or was there a time where you were like, how did that play out?
yeah, so in the beginning, you're like, oh, just being a child, like, whatever. Like, it's like if a kid does that, It's
Okay.
like, yeah, yeah, whatever. But then you're like, nah, dude, this is not cool. It took me like 2, 3 minutes of pause. I was like, no, this is not going to happen again. Because I wouldn't do it to her.
Hmm.
It's not like a one-sided thing. I wouldn't do that to her.
Hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. But I think you played it, the best way possible is like, okay, and just leaving the situation. There's no need to engage, and have a big violent blow.
Well, yeah, I've done that in the past. Yeah, but it doesn't have the effect you want it to have. It just shows that you're not controlling your emotions.
Yeah, and
Zen dude in relationships really really helps for the guy.
you never regret not blowing up.
Yeah. Blowing up always makes things worse.
It
Way, way
always makes
worse.
things worse.
Always makes things
If
worse,
you can
dude.
just step away, go outside or go home for the evening, like, and then sleep on it, give it time and let things settle. And
Yeah.
then you can reconvene when tempers are back at a
But
level that you can reason.
one thing I've noticed also with women in a good way is they force you to be a better man. Like if you actually listen to the emotional cues, is like they want you to react like that in a good way. Like they don't want to be able to do that to you. It sounds weird and counterproductive, but
Yeah, it's like almost like they're testing.
yeah, it's always testing. Always testing.
It's just testing to see what you're able to handle.
Exactly. It's all testing. And once you adopt like a Zen, but not just Zen, like I see a lot of like docile guys which just get stepped on. That's different. That's even worse.
Yes.
But it's more like Zen, knowing when to draw the line and knowing when the line is on the edge or about to be crossed.
Hmm.
So
And when the if that line does get crossed,
it's over.
it's over.
It's over. Game over. Relationship over. No talking about it. Nothing.
Hmm.
No way. Once it has been crossed, and I know for a fact it's been crossed, it's done.
Yeah. And then it's kind of the same thing with Kevin. Like the line's been crossed, it's done, it's done. And
Yeah.
the decision's been made. There's nothing to speak about. There's nothing even to fight about.
Nothing to talk about. Yeah, I'm not mad. I'm not. It's just
That's
it is
yeah,
what it is.
right. And like it's non-negotiable that it's done.
Yeah. Oh yeah. No way. Because if you let it slide, it will happen again, worse, and you'll get disrespected, and your authority will be questioned. So
Yes.
you have to put your foot down. And like someone said this, like, they've broken up with people that they loved a lot and it hurt them. But when it comes to that kind of stuff, like you have to draw the line, dude.
Yeah. But it uh it can be hard when um uh drawing the line goes against your tendencies of giving people grace
Yeah. Yep.
or giving people second chances. And
Yeah, I think you did the perfect thing because like yeah, like kindness technically, but like the best kindness you did is sticking to your guns. That'll be a lesson that he'll remember. Like as parents do tough love, that's when you learn stuff. Now when they're like, "Oh, you want this ice cream? Here's 10." Like, nah, dude, that's not gonna.
100%. And he respected it.
Yeah.
Even though he wanted to stay, he wanted me to turn. He like gained respect by me shooting down his request.
Yeah. Yep. Yep. That's what they do, dude. It's all about like having your own power, knowing that even though you're like, fuck, like I need to find some new person now, I need to do this, but that's fine. You'll figure it out.
Yes, and it's like I always talk about like the order of operations. I do have to. This will lead to me having to do other things, but I know that the first step in this order of operations is to give him his 10-day notice. From there, we'll figure it out.
Yeah.
But the first step is 10-day.
Yep.
And Um, it ended up working out though because I filled the room with an upgrade, was from someone that I know that
Yeah.
there's zero risk of him ever acting like that.
Nice.
And
Hell yeah.
so at the end of the day, like it all worked out. It really did.
That also helps having alternatives, by the way, already ready in the pipeline.
Oh, definitely, definitely. And every time that someone comes in, they end up staying longer because house culture is that much more solid. Like
Yeah.
they're you could say that the resident retainment or resident retention is going longer and longer the longer that I'm here. At first, people could pop in a few months, come and go, but now everyone is like we joke like we're veterans around here now. Like we've been here long enough where there's this house culture, and it makes it a much more pleasant place to live, which in the long run it makes the life easier.
Yeah. 100%.
Um,
No, dude, that's a good decision. I know it's a hard one, but you made the right one for him as well. I think he'll learn from that for sure.
yeah, and I almost um, for this presentation, I did something on the way of the general, but um, you had mentioned efforts after our last meeting, and like we want to kind of like stay on
Track, yeah.
a line.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So like what is something that we don't want to be bouncing all over the place.
Yeah.
But the way of the general, basically, it talks about, authority, punishment, and things like that. And that type of language gives you really good perspectives on sometimes, the whole you got to do what you got to do mindset.
Yeah.
But it's still efforts, though. Again, it definitely it's still efforts.
Yeah. You gotta do what you gotta do to make it do what it does. No other way around it. Humbling, actually, also.
Yeah, yeah.
So. But yeah, dude, appreciate you putting this together. Super helpful as always.
Cool. Thanks for hopping on.
And yeah, I feel like I need this every month, you know? I'm like, oh fuck. Like every month I feel like every time we do this, I'm like, it's like perfect timing. Because I'm overcoming an obstacle and then you hit another one. And you're like, hmm. It's a good reminder, you know?
Yeah,
So
dude.
generally, dude, keep doing what you're doing. I love it.
For sure. We'll run it back next month, and then like over the next few days, now that you kind of been refreshed, think of what the next if another topic comes up, just
Yeah,
drop
let's
it.
do it. I'm also gonna I told my homie as well to hop on. He's currently traveling, but when he's gonna be back in the US, so he'll hop on the next one as well.
All right,
Be a good time.
word up, and I'll post this on the YouTube channel.
All right, take it easy, dog.
Adios.
Adios.